This channel here is kind of interesting. When I first saw it, I thought it was Elon Musk because he actually does stuff like this with some cheap background and cheap camera, but it's not him, it's AI. Nonetheless, kind of interesting. He or it or whatever is talking about marriage. Something I know a little bit about, been married since 2013.
Let me ask you something. What if one of the most celebrated institutions in human history, the thing we call marriage, isn't the sign of love, but the surrender of it? What if happily ever after was never about happiness at all, but about control, about taming the individual so society could function smoothly? Now, I know that sounds provocative, maybe even offensive to some, but stay with me here, because I'm not interested in offending anyone. I'm interested in truth. And sometimes truth requires us to question things we've never questioned before, things that everyone around us simply accepts as good, natural, inevitable. There was this philosopher back in the 1800s who said something that still haunts me. He warned that marriage is the herd's favorite trap, a way to turn powerful individuals into predictable citizens. And whether you agree or not, what he said might just explain why so many people lose themselves.
All right, I mean, I'm kind of following him so far, and the thing is, a lot of laws are actually there just to keep people moving along, doing their job. They're not really made for happiness and optimizing people's lives. I'm not sure exactly where this is, but from what I've heard is that if you're married and your wife gets pregnant by another man, that child is still your responsibility because you're actually married to her. I'm pretty sure in some places that is the law. And my point is, these laws aren't made to keep everyone happy. Obviously, the guy who's going to have to support someone else's kid is miserable, suicidal, maybe. But the theory of the law is if he pushes through with it, the kid gets supported, he lives a life. It doesn't really matter who the father is. Yeah, it matters to the guy, it matters to everybody on a macro level. But looking at society, on the whole, in the millions, it just needs to function. The kid just needs to be supported, and the government doesn't want to support the kid. We don't want to support the kid with our tax dollars, so it's, logically going to be the man who's married to that woman.
After saying I do. So let's question it not from a moral or religious point of view, but from a philosophical one, from a human psychology standpoint. Because if this old philosopher was right, marriage might not be the beginning of love, but the end of freedom. Now, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine you're at a wedding, beautiful ceremony, right? White dress, flowers everywhere, champagne, tears of joy. Everyone's celebrating. The couple looks radiant. And society, all of us watching, we're nodding our approval. This is what success looks like. This is what life is supposed to be. This is the dream. But here's what nobody talks about at weddings. What we're really celebrating isn't just two people finding love. We're celebrating something deeper, something almost invisible. We're celebrating another free individual choosing to become safe,
All right, I'm somewhat following.
another unpredictable person agreeing to become predictable, another potential rebel deciding to follow the script. Think about it this way. Imagine a wild stallion, powerful, untamed, running free across endless plains. Magnificent creature, pure potential energy. Now picture that same stallion in a stable. Well fed, well groomed, maybe even loved by its owner, but broken, caged. The wildness, gone. That transformation from dangerous freedom to comfortable captivity, that's what I see happening at every wedding. And nobody seems to notice it's happening.
Yeah, makes sense. And I mean, when people get married, they're less likely to take risks, crime, do crazy things, especially when you're thinking about kids. So, from society's point of view, they're kind of a tamed person. It's not 100%. They might still do something crazy or whatever. But generally speaking, probably they're going to be more careful, take less risks, travel less, and things like that. So, yeah, makes sense to me so far.
Now, I'm not saying marriage is evil or that everyone who gets married has made a mistake. That's not my point at all. What I'm saying is that we need to understand what's really happening beneath all that romance and tradition. Because when you strip away the ceremony, When you look at the mechanics of what's actually occurring, you start to see something fascinating and a little bit disturbing. Marriage, as society presents it, is packaged as fulfillment. It's sold as the answer to loneliness, the cure for incompleteness, the
Mm.
missing piece that makes you whole. Every movie, every song, every story we tell ourselves says the same thing. You're not complete until you find the one. You're not a real adult until you settle down. You're not truly successful until you have a spouse, a house, kids, the whole package. But what if that's the lie?
Obviously, it depends on the personal situation, how much you'd benefit from being alone or not alone. But I think the point to take home here is marriage isn't necessarily supposed to be about happiness. I think that's the big mistake people make in their thinking when they're thinking about getting married, judging a partner, judging themselves if the partner's right for them. Am I going to be happy? If you're never going to have kids, I guess it's a little different. But if you're going to have kids at some point, it's not really about your happiness. It's about, like it or Elon or whoever was saying, I guess you could say this channel is saying, which will be linked below, by the way, is that it's about running society smoother and having people tamed. But that's kind of what needs to happen. The thing is, we're pretty much floating on a rock in space as far as we know. We're stuck to it by air. We don't know what the hell is out there. The best thing we could possibly do is move on, survive, and improve ourselves. And something that's not working towards that goal is not optimal. And if your happiness is not going to work towards that goal of improving human civilization survival, then you're not quite as important because that's the end goal for the species. It's not about you. It's not about your happiness. It's not about what you deserve. It's not about, you got to get that guy who makes $100,000 and 6 feet tall because he supports you. It's about you and that guy helping human civilization society survive, improve for the next generations. But I said a mouthful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you, Mr. AI Elon Musk. You will be linked below. If you don't sub here, I'll be sad about it, but I'll get over it. See you next time.